Welcome everyone, I'm Addamere and this is level 2-1 of Plants vs. Zombies Game of the Year Edition. We've survived all 10 day levels and now we get to defend our lawn at night. The change in scenery and music is accompanied by sun motes no longer falling from the sky. During the night, we have to produce all of our own sun for the plants we want to build, which quickly becomes a bit of a problem. In addition to being the first night level, this level introduces the Puff Shroom and the Newspaper Zombie, both of which you can see here on the plant selection screen. Puff Shrooms fire a shot every 1.5 seconds, giving them the same damage as a pea shooter. Unlike the pea shooter, Puff Shrooms cost 0 sun to build, but they have two major disadvantages. First, their range is limited. Whereas a pea shooter can fire all the way across the lawn, Puff Shrooms have a maximum range of 3 tiles. Secondly, unlike all of the plants we've thus far encountered, the Puff Shroom is strictly nocturnal, as are all of the other mushrooms we're going to collect during the night levels. Were we to go back to the day levels and place any of them, they'd just sit there doing nothing, literally asleep with little Z's and everything. There's a way around that we'll get to later, but for now, they'll serve as basic defense in the early game, and as cheap cannon fodder later on. The cheapest, since they literally don't cost anything. Since their range is limited, I elect to place them fairly far forward, right up against these grave markers, which are a new mechanic introduced in the night levels. We can't build on them, and for now they're indestructible, though later on we'll gain the ability to destroy them during the course of a level. And that's an advantageous thing that we're going to want to do, because each grave marker will spawn additional zombies during the final wave of a level. Whereas the final waves of levels hitherto haven't been much of anything to sneeze at, as we proceed deeper into the game, the final levels are going to actually become a little bit difficult, so having to deal with fewer zombies will be hugely advantageous to us. Especially, as you can see, we can't even build any of our usual defenses right now because we are so limited on sun. We're already this far into the level and we've not even completed our second column of sunflowers yet. With just the one column of sunflowers, all we can do really is build more sunflowers, and we've got no sun left over yet. Happily, we've got the Puff Shroom to tide us over. Most of the mushrooms are fairly cheap. And now we see the new zombie introduced in this level, the Newspaper Zombie. Newspaper Zombies are the first in a category of zombies called shielded zombies, so named because they all carry something in front of them which acts as a shield to absorb regular range shots. Like the helmeted zombies we've seen before, with buckets and cones on their heads, the Newspaper Zombie's newspaper shield is destroyed as it takes damage, and that it eventually comes off of him. Unlike those helmeted zombies, the Newspaper Zombie makes an angry face and gains a speed boost once his newspaper is destroyed. That's his gimmick. Newspaper Zombies have 10 health like a basic zombie, but their newspaper also has 8 health of its own, which must be depleted first in most cases. Kind of like how the buckets and road cones of Buckethead Zombies and Conehead Zombies absorb damage first before the underlying zombie takes damage. Unlike those zombies, however, we will, during the course of the nighttime levels, gain a means to bypass the shields of shielded zombies. But I get ahead of myself. For now, we have to deal with yet another new mechanic, money. Money lets us buy plant upgrades from Crazy Dave. For now, all we can afford from him, which will be offered here in a few levels, is the opportunity to have more seed packets at a time. With the final wave spawning, as you can see, those grave markers each spawned a zombie, which put them immediately at our front row of defenses. Henceforth, on occasion during levels, we'll get bits of money, and also henceforth, there's actually a reason to hold on to extra sun. It gives us more money. We'll talk about that more in the next level. Meanwhile, in this level, the final wave's done, and we've flicked our reward. A seed packet for a new plant, the Sun Shroom, which we'll see next level. Welcome everyone, I'm Addamere and this is level 2-2 of Plants vs. Zombies Game of the Year Edition. As we've now collected some money, our neighbor Crazy Dave is here to tell us that at some indeterminate time we'll be able to do some indeterminate thing with it. For now, we're presented with a preview of the zombies in the level, of which there are no new appearances, and allowed to select our desired plants. As with the previous level, I want to bring along the Snow Pea and the Repeater because they're our best late game defenses, and the Walnut for emergency delaying. We can't very well avoid taking the zero-cost Puff Shroom, and with only 2 more slots available, we have room only for the Sunflower and the Sun Shroom. And that's our loadout. As with the previous level, there are grave markers pre-placed on our lawn, and we immediately begin placing sunflowers and puff shrooms. But we have a new thing to show off this level, the sun shroom we've just recently acquired. Like all other mushrooms, the sun shroom is strictly nocturnal, meaning we can make use of it here in the night levels best. You'll notice it only costs 25 sun to place, half as much as the regular sunflower. But it also produces less sun, at least at first. 2 minutes after being built, the sun shroom grows and begins producing full-size sun motes. Its cheap cost, and the fact that it eventually catches up to the sunflower in sun production, makes it more efficient than sunflowers during the night levels. Even more so than in the day levels, the early minutes of the night levels are slow and repetitive, mostly due to the lack of sun. At most, we have the zero-cost puff shroom to place on cooldown, but elsewise we're waiting for our sun production to get up and running. Here arrives the small dilemma in optimization. While the sun shroom is more efficient eventually, the sunflower is more efficient right now, or at least it feels that way. Toward that end, once I've filled up my 2 sun production columns, I start shoveling up the sun shrooms and replacing them with sunflowers. In hindsight, I'm sure that's not the most efficient thing to do. Meanwhile, we've just enough sun for a snow pea, just in time to nullify a newspaper zombie. Ripping up the nearly mature sun shrooms and spending more sun to build sunflowers in their place keeps us busy for a while, and when not busy sabotaging our economy, I also find the time and sun to build additional snow peas in the top and bottom rows of our lawn. The first huge wave of zombies sees us with 2 fully mature sun shrooms and an incomplete defense. The flag zombie for this wave appears in the middle row of the lawn, and happily the only conehead zombie in this wave also appears in a row already defended by a snow pea. As such, we skate right through this wave without suffering any ill consequences whatsoever from my economic mismanagement. As we fill in our defenses, we're treated to the appearance of more conehead zombies and eventually some buckethead zombies. You'll notice special zombies like those are more likely to drop money, but it's not guaranteed. You'll also notice I don't place any additional puff shrooms, not because I forgot about them, but because they're not really needed. And also because that would require me to willfully have an incomplete column that doesn't line up properly. That's just a bridge too far for me. Couldn't make myself do it. You have no idea how much those 2 sun shrooms make my eyes itch every time I look at them. I was so tempted. We begin the final wave with full columns of repeaters and snow peas, with more repeaters to be built during the wave. As before, the grave markers spawn zombies as soon as the final wave officially starts, which allows our defenses some time to deal with them before the main force arrives. But not much time. As you can see, the screen quickly becomes filled with zombies which threaten to overrun our defenses in places. Quickly placed walnut in the top row prevents zombies from eating our repeaters, and it's a flurry of action trying to keep everything in order. I was very tempted to place additional plants just for the sake of symmetry, but it's better not to waste our sun. We don't need to spend. With the final zombie and the final wave defeated, we click to receive our reward, a seed packet for a new plant, the fume shroom, which we'll see next level. Welcome everyone, I'm Addamere, and this is level 2-3 of Plants vs. Zombies, Game of the Year edition. This level introduces a new plant, the fume shroom, and a new zombie, the screen door zombie. For our loadout this evening, I drop sunflowers to make room for the new fume shroom, and otherwise repeat the loadout of the previous 2 levels. Let's rock. As always, we begin the level with sun production and basic defenses. By using sun shrooms instead of sunflowers, we can build 2 sun producers instead of just the 1 with our initial 50 sun. While the recharge rate is the same for sunflowers and sun shrooms, getting the second and third ones down faster lets us ramp up sun production faster, and this in turn leads to greater overall production efficiency. While we're setting up, let's talk about the new things this level introduces, starting with the fume shroom. Like the puff shroom, the fume shroom has limited range. 4 tiles, to be exact. It makes up for this weakness with the powerful ability to bypass shields and damages all zombies within its 4-tile range. It's the latter aspect that makes it incredibly useful throughout the game for managing huge waves of zombies, and in survival mode especially. But it's the former that makes it helpful to us in this relatively short level, because it is the perfect counter to the new zombie this level introduces. We saw the screen door zombie on the plant selection screen. It is so named because it carries a screen door, which it uses as a shield. Screen door zombies are basic zombies, with the standard 10 health and no special abilities, but they carry a screen door shield which can absorb 55 damage, making them as tough as buckethead zombies. And as with the newspaper zombie, the screen door zombie shield absorbs damage from normal attacks before being destroyed. Unlike the newspaper zombie, the screen door zombie is immune to the slowing effect of the snow pea so long as it has its shield intact. In that regard, the screen door zombie is actually tougher to deal with than is the buckethead zombie. And this is where the fume shroom really shines, especially during these early night levels. For a fume shroom, the screen door zombie is just a basic zombie. It may as well not even have that shield for all the good it does it. The bubbles just go right past it, and the screen door zombie dies long before its shield does, leading to one of my favorite animations in the entire game, where the underlying zombie just falls apart and falls to the ground while still carrying its shield forward. It's right up there with sunflowers smiling and bouncing. Speaking of which, I just noticed sunshrooms don't smile at all. It's not that they look angry exactly, but they're definitely not thrilled about being here. A full column of fume shrooms guarantees safety from screen door zombies in all rows of the lawn, and with that our defenses are mostly complete. Building another full column of them is probably not necessary, but it's a reasonable use of time and sun since they cost less than pea shooters and inflict the same amount of damage across a wider area. Were there more time before the final wave, we might see all of our sun shrooms mature, and with that, the ability to prepare stronger defenses. As it is, we're unlikely even to need half of the plants we've brought along in our loadout. The only worrisome element right now is the grave markers in the bottom row, which will begin spawning zombies soon. As the final wave spawns, the grave markers erupt and basic zombies come pouring out of them as they did in the previous level. We've still no way to prevent that, so all we can do really is count on having been sufficiently prepared, with our teeth and our ambition and our mushrooms bare. Clusters of tough zombies have gathered about and they're just begging to be cherry bombed, but lacking that we make do with a snow pea for the conehead zombies and another fume shroom for the screen door zombie. And then with the wave defeated, we click on our reward, a seed packet for a new plant, the Gravebuster, which we'll see in the next level. Welcome everyone, I'm Addamere and this is level 2-4 of Plants vs. Zombies, Game of the Year edition. Now that we've enough money, our neighbor Crazy Dave offers us the opportunity to increase the number of plants we can bring to a level. Doing so costs some of the money we've been collecting, but there is no downside and nothing else to spend it on at the moment. So of course we buy it. Why wouldn't we? Our loadout for this level will include puff shrooms, sun shrooms, fume shrooms, gravebusters, snow peas, repeaters, and I tossed around the idea of chompers, but I felt like the cherry bomb would be better in case of an emergency. We begin the level with 7 grave markers on our lawn, and for the first time we've now the ability to get rid of them. Grave busters are single-use plants that can only be planted on grave markers. They cost 75 sun and take 5 seconds to fully destroy grave markers, during which time zombies can attack and destroy them. Upon destroying a grave marker, the grave buster will leave behind a random pickup item. These can be denominations of money, or some special things we'll likely see later. No spoilers for now. In anticipation of eventually getting rid of them, I begin building defenses as though those 2 leftmost grave markers aren't even there. My goal going into this is for the 7th column here to be the front line of our defenses, and for everything to line up neatly. The appearance of the first conehead zombie signals the first of many issues with my preferred style of methodical building. First, I have to build more of the puff shrooms than I originally intended. Ideally, this 3rd line of defenses, where I'm now building puff shrooms, would be something like a fume shroom or a snow pea. Instead, I have to make do with what I can currently afford, which means nothing but puff shrooms. And while I'm perfectly calm about it now, at the time it all felt very frantic to suddenly see problems barreling down on me. This is illustrated further by the appearance of pole vaulting zombie in the top row, which is the first of many which will be very problematic throughout the level. That pole vaulting zombie not only bypasses a puff shroom, but eats another. This becomes a recurring theme throughout the level, as I struggle not only to get things in place, but to replace those things I've already lost. But even with things as disjointed as they are, I stick to the dream of trying to get rid of grave markers and thus eventually having pretty defenses. To that end, our first grave buster destroys a grave marker and leaves behind a gold coin just as another pole vaulting zombie sprints onto the lawn. Whereas these were easily handled in the previous levels that featured them, the pole vaulting zombies remain a major source of problems throughout this level. And this one's no exception. It finally goes down after bypassing one puff shroom and eating another, only for another pole vaulting zombie to appear in the bottom row, and this one is absolutely devastating. The entire reason we're in such dire straits is because we haven't had much sun with which to build adequate defenses hitherto. And this pole vaulting zombie going all the way into our sun shrooms kind of wrecks our economy. we are quickly faced with a situation where we're going to actually start losing income. And so we spend some of what little we've saved on a cherry bomb as a last resort. Then, a huge wave of zombies approaches. This portion of the level is actually much more relaxed, as even our patchwork defenses are capable of dealing with basic zombies and conehead zombies. Fume shrooms really shine in big waves like this, as they deal damage to everything in a row of lawn. And for the same reason, even the wayward screen door zombie isn't really a big deal. But here again we fall victim to the pole vaulting zombie, which as before bypasses some of our defenses and destroys others. Quite frankly, I was not expecting this many of them, and as a result I was woefully unprepared and got punished for it throughout the level. In fact, I'm so busy freaking out about the pole vaulting zombies and how they're ruining my efficiency that I completely forget to pick up a gold coin in the bottom row. And ruin our efficiency they most certainly do. By the time the final wave arrives, I'll have replaced several fume shrooms because pole vaulting zombies ate them. In retrospect, just moving our defensive line back a column or two at the beginning of the level would have really helped. Other solutions to the problem of being constantly overrun and replanting expensive fume shrooms might have been to invest in them a little later, or bring different plants. With all the money sunk into fume shrooms that were destroyed, we could have easily afforded a couple of snow peas to slow down tough foes. Maybe place a walnut here and there. But at least I eventually managed to line up some pretty columns of plants, right? That's what I tell myself as I watched yet another fume shroom get eaten by a pole vaulting zombie. There's probably a lesson in here somewhere about form following function or the perils of chasing sunk costs. But the real lesson to take away here is that while deceptively cartoonish and simple on its face, this game can quickly overcome and punish you for mistakes. There are some other strategies one could use to complete this level, and this is definitely one I'll be revisiting once we've completed Adventure Mode for the first time. But for now we're presented with the final wave, which, thankfully, is very similar to the first huge wave. There's only the one pole vaulting zombie, and while we're starved for sun, we don't have all that much to worry about. A last-second puff shroom placement saves our fume shroom from being eaten by the conehead zombie, and as the level draws to a close, we click on these sun motes, and then also our reward, the Suburban Almanac, which I'll show off in another video. Welcome everyone, I'm Addamere, and this is level 2-5 of Plants vs. Zombies, Game of the Year Edition. This level is a mini-game level. It's Whack-a-Zombie, as Crazy Dave tells us. We've got a mallet, and there's going to be zombies popping up out of graves. As we destroy them, sometimes we'll get sun motes, which will click and will allow us to build a limited selection of plants. I'm mostly going to be building grave busters, because that gets rid of graves, which in turn means fewer zombies to click. In the minigame version of this level, there might be faster appearing zombies, there might be more zombies appearing from a particular grave, there might be more graves. It can get kind of hectic if you're clicking manually with the mouse, and you're trying to also build like grave busters and cherry bombs or whatever else. You can get through the level entirely with the mallet though, with fast clicking. Maybe you've got yourself an auto clicker macro, or maybe you've just got really high APM from Mutalis Micro. Either way, you don't need any of the additional plants that you can build, but they're helpful, and why not show them off? Plus, every time you destroy a grave with a grave buster, you get a pickup of some kind. Money in denominations mostly. So that's what I do throughout the majority of this level. I click on zombies, and whenever I've got enough sun and the charge timer has elapsed, I click a grave buster and destroy a grave marker with it. Pretty simple, pretty fun, pretty relaxing. I like it. It's a nice little diversion from the usual tower defense style. Actually doing things instead of just watching things happen after you build is, like I said, a neat little diversion. Another reason to use grave busters is that, as you just saw, grave markers will sometimes just appear out of nowhere freshly throughout the level. And if you don't get rid of any grave markers, well, you can end up with a lot of them. And that would mean you'd have to click a lot. As you can see here with the conehead zombies, not all zombies are destroyed with a single whack of the mallet. Basic zombies take 1, conehead zombies take 2, and I believe buckethead zombies take 3. There's some even tougher zombies than those, which don't appear in this level, so I don't actually know offhand how many whacks with the mallet it would take to destroy them. Plus we haven't seen them yet, and I don't want to use spoilers. Alright, here we go. Yep, 3 whacks on the bug-ahead zombie to get rid of it. So that's just basically what's happening here. The level's nearly done, and we've nearly gotten rid of all of the grave markers. I'm a little behind on getting rid of them because I've been a bit busy whacking and let my recharge timer go away a little bit. Thought about using some of the other plants, but why? With the level completed, click our reward. Seed packet for a new plant, the Hypno Shroom, which we'll see in the next level. Hey guys, if you liked this video, feel free to subscribe to my channel. For the next video in the series, click the button on your right. To go straight to the playlist, click the button on your left. I'm Addamere, and as always, thanks for watching.